Good morning, all our friends. It's Miss Amber. This morning is Thursday, and on the calendar, we're going to be reviewing the states. Remember, this past month, we've been learning about all the different states in each area: the Midwest, the East, the South, and the West Coast. We live in California, so we're going to be reviewing the states that we learned about and also California. But before I get into the lesson, and I'm even going to show you California's state song, let's do the calendar, the weather, and sing our good morning song. So take out your calendars that we made, and we're going to start with the days of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and let's begin again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. What comes after Wednesday? Thursday. Okay, let's count our numbers. 1, 2, 3, and today is 4. Today's Thursday, June 4th, 2020. Great. Now let's look out our windows and take out your weather chart that we've been tracking for the week. We're going to put the date today is June 4th, and let's sing our weather song. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather, all our friends? Is it windy? Is it cloudy? Is there rain or is there sun? Okay, out my window, the sun is shining and it's very hot. I recently got chickens in my backyard and we were setting them up yesterday, and it was 96 degrees yesterday, and today, this morning, it's already in the 80s, so I'm thinking it's going to be another hot day. And there's no wind in the trees, and there's no clouds in my sky, so I'm just going to do a bright sun in my picture and a blue sky, a clear blue sky. I'm hoping it's not as hot in Foster City because it's extremely hot here and it's hard to even be outside for a few moments. So I hope you guys have comfortable, warm weather in Foster City. So what you need to do is look out your window and draw what you see. Okay, here's my weather for today, June 4th, a bright, hot, sunny day. Okay, great. Now let's get our hands ready. Let's do the good morning song. Good morning, good morning, good morning, all our friends. We love you, we miss you. Please sit down, let's begin. Good morning, good morning, good morning, all our friends. We love you, we miss you. Please sit down, let's begin. Great. So the last couple of weeks we've been learning about the United States of America. There are 50 states in the United States of America, and we group them by direction. So we started with the Midwestern states here. Then we talked about the Eastern states, the Southern states, and lastly, we talked about the Western states, the West Coast, which are the dark blue here. And we live in California, and we talked about that. So today we're going to review the states, and I have the pictures so that we can remember about each one. So let's start with the Midwestern states, the yellow section. Okay, here are the pictures for the Midwestern states. At the top we have the Gateway Arch, which is found in St. Louis, Missouri, the tallest American national monument. Remember, it's 630 feet high. And there's the flag for Missouri. Then this bridge right here is the Mackinac Bridge. It's the 5-mile-long suspension bridge in Michigan. This is the flag for Michigan. And it's the 5th longest suspension bridge in the whole world. And it's the longest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere, so like the western side of the world. So that's the Mackinac Bridge. We talked about that. And then this is a picture of Chimney Rock. Remember, Chimney Rock is in the Midwest region of the United States in Nebraska. And this is the flag for Nebraska. Remember, it's a symbol for the Great Western Migration during the 19th century as people traveled across the United States to the west Chimney Rock was a recognized landmark along the Oregon and California trails. So travelers that were traveling across the United States would stop at this landmark and know that they were going in the right direction. It's created from thousands of years of erosion of the rock from wind, water, and lightning. Okay, and in the last picture for the Midwest, we have the famous Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota. Here's the flag for South Dakota. It's one of the most iconic national monuments in the United States. It's 60 feet tall. It's a sculpture carved into the cliffside of the Black Hill Mountains. And the faces are the 4 former American presidents. There's George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, of course, and Theodore Roosevelt is kind of in the middle there. You can't really see him that well. Remember, this monument is one of the most visited monuments in the world. Today, nearly 3 million people visit the monument every single year. And that's in South Dakota. And there's the flag of South Dakota. So these are the Midwestern states. Do you remember when we talked about the Midwestern states, this yellow region here? Okay. So now I'm going to go over the Eastern states. The Eastern states are the states here in the red. Remember, the Eastern states have a lot of our founding colonies. When we first came to the United States, we landed on the East Coast, on the eastern seaboard. And here are the Eastern states. This is basically where the United States was founded, because before there were 50 states, there was 13 original colonies. So we have Rhode Island at the top. Remember, there's the flag for Rhode Island. The state symbol and motto is hope, and there's a hope on the flag. It's nicknamed the Ocean State because it has a vast coastline, and it's also the smallest state in all of the United States. And then here's a picture of the Flying Horse Carousel, which is the oldest carousel in the United States. And then we learned about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the middle pictures here. There's the flag of Pennsylvania. The slogan is independence. The Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence were all written in Pennsylvania. It's the second state admitted into the Union. And you remember there's a city in Pennsylvania called Hershey's, and that's where the largest chocolate factory is, and it's the chocolate capital of the world. And do you remember the fun fact that Hershey City smells like chocolate all the time? And Pennsylvania, of course, has our Liberty Bell in front of the State House. And remember, its motto is independence, liberty, and freedom. Okay, so that's Pennsylvania. And then the last Eastern state that we talked about is our New York. This is the flag for New York, nicknamed the Empire State. Do you remember? Do you remember the Statue of Liberty here and Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, the immigration center where 12 million people immigrated and passed through the port in 62 years. And then the Statue of Liberty is our symbol of liberty and freedom, and a really big symbol in the United States. And then we have the tallest building, the World Trade Center, One World Trade Center. It's also nicknamed the Freedom Tower. See how tall it is? It almost looks like it's part of the sky. The Freedom Tower is the tallest building in the United States and the tallest building in the western side of the world. There you go. So those were the Eastern states, do you remember? And now let's talk about the Southern states. The Southern states are the green section here. We highlighted 3 Southern states. There's, of course, Texas at the top with the Lone Star State with the star on the flag. And then there's that famous building, the Alamo, where there was that battle between the Texas Republic and the Mexican government. And remember, they lost the battle, but they did win their independence, and they were considered a free territory for a short time, and then they developed into a state and were part of our United States of America. Texas has a state motto of friendship. It's the second largest state in the United States. And then there's that famous highway that has the fastest speed limit in the United States, which is 85 miles per hour. It's in Austin, Texas. It's called Highway 130. Okay, remember the other states we learned about in the South were Louisiana, the Pelican State. Remember the two cities that are famous in Louisiana are Baton Rouge and New Orleans. They have a celebration every year, Mardi Gras celebration, and there's a picture here of them celebrating Mardi Gras. And they also have the swamplands and marshes where the crocodiles live. And it's really home to great food and music. Remember Louisiana is named after King Louis XIV. And that was another state in the South we learned about. And the last state is Tennessee. And that also has a famous city for music and culture and food, and that's Nashville. And it also has a national park and the Great Smoky Mountains, which is the most visited national park in the United States. It has double the amount of visitors than the Grand Canyon. And it has that fog that looks like smoke on the mountain. Okay, those were the states in the South that we learned about. And lastly, we talked about the Western States, the blue states. This is the side of the United States that we live on. Remember, we live in California. And here are 3 states in particular that are on the western coast. There's Washington State. Remember, it's the only state that's named after a president, nicknamed the Evergreen State because of the giant evergreen trees. There's also the volcano, Mount St. Helens, and Mount St. Rainier are 2 of the most active volcanoes in Washington. And then, of course, there's the most visited attraction in Washington State, which is the Space Needle in Seattle. It's an observation tower, and it's over 600 feet tall, and they recently renovated it, and it has that revolving glass floor, which is the only one of its kind. So that's Washington State. There's a picture of Washington on the flag. And then the next state we learned about in the West Coast was Utah. Utah flag's here. It's called the Great Salt Lake in Utah. It's the largest lake in the West. Here's a picture of it here. It's nicknamed the Beehive State. And it also has a lot of national parks, including Arches, which is right here, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, and a few others. And that's Utah. Okay, and then the last state before California that we talked about in the West was Arizona. Arizona here, the Sunshine State. Remember, it looks like a star and then like rays of sunshine for the Sunshine State. That's the nickname. And it gets really hot in Arizona. The Grand Canyon is in Arizona, which is that national rock canyon with layered bands of red rock. And then at the bottom of the red rock, do you remember that there's a tribe called the Havasupai Indian tribe? And they actually live inside the Grand Canyon at the bottom. And they have a beautiful creek called Havasu Creek in Arizona with beautiful blue waters and waterfalls, which is right here. That's at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Okay, so those are the states in the West, and then now we're going to talk about our state, California. Here's the pictures of California. This is the state that we all live in. It's nicknamed the Golden State. The state slogan is "Find Yourself Here." It's famous for its beautiful coastlines, beautiful weather, and national parks like Yosemite. There's Lake Tahoe, Highway 1. You could take a long scenic drive down the coastline. The gold rush started here in California. That's why we're nicknamed the Golden State. Here's our flag with the state animal, the bear, the brown bear. And then here is a picture of Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. We have Disneyland, Legoland. We have giant redwood trees. And of course, our Golden Gate Bridge. The highest point in California is Mount Whitney. It's also home to the lowest point in the United States, which is the desert plain known as Death Valley. And a lot of people come from all over the world to visit beautiful California, and they find themselves here. Okay, so since I've reviewed all the states, I wanted to play you the California state song. Okay? If you know it, you can sing along. I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love you. Fertile valleys, your dear mountains I adore. I love your grand old ocean and I love her rugged shore. When the snow-crowded golden sierras keep their watch o'er the valleys bloom, it is there I would be in our land by the sea, every breeze bearing rich perfume. It is here nature gives of her rares. It is home, sweet home to me. And I know when I die I shall breathe my last sigh for my sunny California. I love your redwood forest. Redwood Forest. Fields of yellow grain. I love your summer breezes and I love your winter rain. I love you, land of flowers, land of honey, fruit and wine. I love you, California, you have won this heart of mine. So there's a little bit of the state song. It talks about the beautiful weather in California, the redwood forest, the valleys, like Yosemite Valley, the mountains, the coastline, the beautiful weather, and also the fruit and food that's grown here. Remember, more than half of all of the United States vegetables, nuts, and fruits are grown in the state of California because we have such beautiful weather. We're a very special state. And the United States really depends on us for their agriculture and tourism. Okay, so those are the states of the United States of America. Remember, we have our Midwestern states in the yellow, our Eastern states in the red, our Southern states in the green, and our blue states, the West. And we live in California. That's the place that we call home. Okay, friends, now that I played you the state song, let's do one other song and then I'll let you go. I have some worksheets that I'm going to send home. It's the United States that you can color and trace the name of the United States. There's a California worksheet that you can color and trace the name of California. And then there's another California worksheet that has some pictures of things that you might find here in California. Okay, so let's sing another song. Let's sing. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gold Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I love you, California. All right, bye friends, I miss you.